Rocky.
We're going to wait 2 minutes before we do our simultaneous sip. Give folks a chance to come in and join us before we sip our coffee together.
Whoa, we have...
Yep, folks are joining in. All right, so ask us anything today. We're taking questions from the world.
And we have a special guest, Teeny.
That's right, today is Froen Girls and Teeny edition.
Yep.
Teeny is the name of our bear.
My bear.
That is not a fro. That's not a question.
Oh.
Try again.
He didn't have time to brush it up.
All right, so let's go ahead. 7:30, so now let's go ahead and do our simultaneous sip.
Okay.
Everyone join us. Raise your glass, your mug, your chalice. Fill it with your favorite liquid and join us for this simultaneous sip. All right.
Oh.
Now, if you guys don't propose a question for us, our backup question is, what's better, hot dogs or cold dogs? So unless you want to hear us talking about the difference between hot dogs and cold dogs for the next 30 minutes, you're going to need to share a question. I mean, so I'll tell you why I like cold dogs. My mom used to put hot dogs in the freezer. And then us kids, you know, when we wanted to have a hot dog or we were hungry, we would go into the freezer and we would break one off with a fork and we would have our frozen hot dog, and it was delicious. So I don't know if I agree with this idea that hot dogs are better.
Well, hot dogs are also better because when you eat the hot dog, it's going to be more juicy. It's going to be more flavorful. It's also going to be more soft. So because if people have braces, you don't break your teeth.
You don't break your teeth. Okay, all right. These are all good points. I concede hot dogs are better. All right, we need a question, people. Come on. Ask away. All right, we'll have to come up with something new.
Mm-hmm.
We could also talk about, what was another one we were debating?
What is good?
What is good?
How to start a good business.
Oh yeah, how to start it. What's a good business idea?
What's a good business idea? That was a question.
That was a good one. I was actually just talking to a friend last night about what makes for a good business idea. And I guess a lot of people right now are doing like side hustles because they, either they lost their job or they just like have a little more time on their hands because they can't go anywhere, so they're trying to think of things to do. So we did come up with like a few principles of how to know if you have a good business idea. So one is that you can learn a lot while doing it, right? So even if you fail, you will come out of the experience knowing a lot. So like last year when we were trying to build the app, the marriage relationship app, I came out of that without, the app failed. We never finished building the app. But I spent the whole summer learning about marriage and communication styles and love languages.
And our coder learned how to build apps.
Yeah, we also learned how to build apps. So we learned a lot of stuff. So that was really good.
Is it a product that you want to use? Right? Start with something that it's your pain point. Or you will use it yourself.
Yeah.
And then
are you addressing a real pain point?
Yeah, are you addressing a real pain point?
Ideally, are you addressing a real pain point for a lot of people? But
oh, somebody asked to join. They have to ask to join?
I enabled guests.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Oh, asked to join. Oh, I didn't know what that did. I guess that pops up all their little pictures, and then, I don't know, sorry, thank you for offering to join, but we don't normally do that. So
Yeah.
maybe just share on the typey type.
I think
Okay.
that's like a comment box.
Yeah. So let's get back into. Oh, feel free to ask questions. By the way, we're making up questions because we haven't gotten to question yet. And the question we're discussing, the question we're discussing is right now. We covered hot dogs versus cold dogs, and we
Yeah,
decided hot
right.
dogs are better.
Yeah.
And then now we're talking about what makes for a good business idea or side hustle. And our side hustle is Periscope. It's not really a side hustle.
And also
Oh, I makeshift-homeschool.app.
is out.
But that's free, so we're not trying to make money on that either. We're just trying to help kids learn.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you're learning a lot doing your side hustle,
And also
that's important. Solving a real problem.
And one way to know if it's a real problem is if it's a problem you yourself face.
All right, yeah.
And also it helps you know better what the pain point is because you've experienced it yourself.
Right. Yes. Another one would be if it doesn't cost a lot of capital. So the friend of mine, he was looking at two different things. He was thinking about, he wants to do like EV charging stations and like help people install all the folks buying Teslas and a lot of other car companies are starting to make EVs now. So that was one idea. And then the other idea was like recycling old solar panels or creating a donut shop. I was like, well, out of the three, one costs a very small amount of money. How much for the teddy bear? Oh, well, the teddy bear. The teddy bear is not for sale. The teddy bear is an honorary member of the family and today's guest. Owen Girls and Teeny. So of the three ideas, one idea...
might have been asking how much was the teddy bear when you got it.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, more of a discussionary question. Come up with something a little deeper. It's very hard to keep discussing the cost of a bear.
No, it was from the thrift store.
All right. So we have... So you want to have something where you're learning a lot, where you're solving a real problem, but also it doesn't cost a lot of money to get into it. And frankly, like getting into installing EV charging stations doesn't cost a lot of money, whereas trying to build renting out a space to do a donut shop would cost a lot more money. So I kind of like that other idea better. So I don't know what else. What else makes for a really good business idea?
It's something you are passionate about and you will always find time to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
If something you are not
Mommy went to that Futures Founders Conference.
if it's not something you're passionate about, you are always dragging your feet. You don't get much done.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like something you'll do no matter what.
That's true. I mean, that's like...
And then you do it for yourself first.
You're just going to work harder than everybody else if it's not work.
Yeah. Because to make it successful, it takes so much determination, right?
Oh, you're not in the camera.
Yeah, we might have to get rid of the honorary guest because Isla can't even fit on the couch.
Wait, you'll sit on top of me.
Oh, boy. I think it's going to knock over Mommy's coffee. She's going to get hot coffee all over herself and go, "Wah!" And then we're going to turn off the Periscope, and then that'll be the last anybody hears of us.
Okay, it's good.
You need to be very, very careful and not hit Mommy with her coffee.
Okay.
All right. So we're good 10 minutes in now.
Yep.
No questions yet.
Yep.
And you have to be the unique person to solve it. Right, there's a lot of problems in the world, and
it has to have a moat because when you first start out with like a startup, well, I mean it doesn't have to, but like a better business idea would have a moat because when with big companies it's harder to just replicate it because they already have many users that are already used to the product, but when you're
network effects. products.
But when you're when you're a startup, there's not really any users for you, so anyone could just copy the product and they wouldn't have a really hard time going against you. Like
right.
some little mini company would not be very hard to beat, whereas like going against Apple or Microsoft, that would just be.
Can they see me?
Nope. Not really. Yeah, so network effects are good. So actually Warren Buffett and Elon Musk disagree on whether how important it is to have a moat.
Mm-hmm.
So Buffett talks about moats and this whole idea of you want a company that's almost like a monopoly, is essentially a legal monopoly in terms of how hard it is for their users to basically switch over to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then Elon Musk was asked about the moat at Tesla, and he was like, moats don't matter. We're just going to out-innovate and outthink everybody so fast it won't be able to catch up. So he's basically like, we're just going to run faster than everybody.
Yeah.
That's our moat.
Uh-huh.
I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that he just took this standard part of investing and just completely threw it out the window and said, screw that. We don't need it.
What Paul Graham was saying was that you want to have a unique product, and if someone else shows up, because it's kind of like a racetrack, and when you have your own startup and you're not really competing against everyone, you just you're just running along the racetrack, and if someone else shows up, you just try to run faster.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Yeah, because some people were asking what do I do if there's another startup that's trying to do what I'm doing?
Run faster.
Run faster. And so it's kind of if you have a moat, it's kind of easier because then you just can just have your own racetrack. You're not really going against anybody else, but it also can be a motivation if you see other people and you're just like, let's just run faster. But
the perception of a moat though also makes companies lazy. So for a long time, these car companies like Ford and GM,
they didn't
they had economies of scale.
Yeah, they didn't have any pressure to innovate as much.
Right. They thought that they had a moat because they thought they had economies of scale and that this was somehow going to prevent people from getting into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But money's so cheap that basically raising capital and building a factory is no longer a barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And so it's not really. Yeah.
See, I made it work.
But yeah, so all else equal, it would be nice to have a company an idea that has a moat. But I kind of like what Elon Musk said about how you just have to out-innovate everybody and just keep making it better.
Mm-hmm.
We need a bigger
Just run
cow.
faster, like what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
We need a bigger cow.
Yeah.
We need a bigger stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want for my
not
next
big
birthday.
enough.
That's what I want for my next birthday.
A big.
Oh boy.
All right. We got to come up with
animal?
I'm having fun coming up with lots of questions. We haven't gotten a single question yet. Got a whole lot of people join, and then no questions. So
Yeah.
we're coming up with our own questions on the fly.
I mean,
another question?
I still like answering this one.
This is a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we up to now? So the question we came up with for ourselves was, what makes for a good business idea?
Mm-hmm. So I think
Doesn't cost a lot of money. You're learning a lot while you're doing it, so even if you fail, you come out on top. You're solving a real problem, preferably one that you actually have yourself.
doesn't cost that much.
It doesn't cost very much to get in.
And
which I
also,
mentioned, but
either
very
you
important.
have a moat or you have the ability to push yourself and run faster than you're.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
is
Like,
he-
if
Either
you
either
are
have a
able to
moat,
do
something
that.
that differentiates you and makes it so that people can have a hard time switching, or just keep running faster.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all related? So actually, Teeny is adopted.
Yeah.
But Teeny's head is so big, so he can't possibly be in our genetical family. But
So we're taking questions. So feel free to throw them out there. We've addressed 2 already, but we're making them up as we go.
okay.
Yep.
We addressed hot versus cold hot dogs, and concluded that hot dogs were better. Well, I guess hot dogs are better. I don't have to say hot dogs.
Yeah.
Right? Do you believe in aliens? Finally, a question. Oh. Well, do you believe in magic? I hope you do. Do you believe in aliens?
Like, I know that there's a possibility that there might be out there, but I'm not like, I'm certain there's aliens out there.
There's probably a good possibility that there are some kind of other species living around in the universe because there is so much we haven't explored.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
We should write a makeshift homeschool article about,
Yeah.
are we alone in the universe? Oh, that would be a really good one. Like a really simple,
Yeah.
do you mess with the war? What? Okay, let's stick with the aliens one. Not sure what that means. Maybe rephrase that, because I don't know what you mean. All right. So I personally believe in aliens.
You
Do you know about Pangea? Oh yeah,
As in-
Pangea. You mean like the continents?
When they
That's
were all together.
okay. So that's not really a discussionary question. Keep trying. All right, I'm gonna go with the aliens one. That's a good question because it's fun
I
and
think
interesting.
there might be a war going on in Pangea.
Okay. So
4.
aliens.
Good job, Isla.
Here, let me read and decide if the questions are silly, actually good questions, or I'm just gonna ignore them.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it'll be very boring to watch our podcast as we're like sitting there like every 2 seconds. All right. So, aliens, mommy. I believe in aliens because when my wife first came to America, she was an alien.
No, she wasn't.
No, she was. Technically, that's what you call a person from a foreign country is an alien. But then once we got married and she became a citizen, then she was no longer an alien. So I do actually. No, that's not racist. No. That's the actual technical term for an alien. There's legal aliens and illegal aliens. But I assume that the question was actually about aliens from outer space.
Yeah. Well, there are so many planets, in the space, and it's possible that some of these planets are suitable for life forms.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then there are aliens.
Yeah. I mean, I think that almost certainly there's got to be. I mean,
there's got to be some other species.
The math on this, I think, is like there's just the universe is so incredibly enormous.
Yeah.
And basically, the scientists have done it. They've worked out the probabilities that you get a planet like Earth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one. What's the meaning of human life? But we'll do that one in a second. So the entire universe is so big, and the probability of getting planets that can sustain life is high enough that it's almost a certainty that there's life somewhere else in the universe. Problem is that life could be so far away that even if you're traveling at the speed of light that you may not see it.
Traveling at the speed.
So now we're starting to get some good questions. Let's see. What is the meaning of human life, and what is the point of living?
I think they meant like that was like one question.
What is the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life? What is the point of living? I'm thinking. I'm stalling.
Okay.
The girl's right. The girl's right. What did the girl say about the meaning of life?
I don't know.
Well, quick! You can't forget. You can't say the meaning of life and then forget.
I don't think I said anything.
Damn
It's to be happy?
No, I mean because you can never fully be happy, and also.
And you also can't constantly be happy, like.
Yeah. Like, I'm just so happy.
You know, like, that's not.
It's not really.
That doesn't work.
I think the meaning of life has a lot to do with other people and your relationships and how you impact other people, because that's kind of one of the most. That's kind of one of the. I guess it's one of the most impactful things you can do. So
How different would things be if Mufasa didn't die?
Who's Mufasa?
It's from The Lion King. Let's stick with this, though. This question of what is the meaning of life? What is the point of living? Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Very
Sume.
beautiful scene.
no, but I
The
think
bad guy or the good guy?
Sume is answering the question of what is the meaning of life
Yeah,
right
right.
now, and you're interrupting. Sume, just keep plowing forward here because we're rather desperate to know. I don't even know what to do the rest of the day.
I think that like it has a lot to do with how you can impact other people. Because that's like one of the like because I guess when you look throughout history, the people who've been remembered have been people who have impacted like the most amount of people. And
All right, I'm gonna stop you there.
yeah,
Being remembered, I don't think that can't be the point.
I don't think that's the point of
Otherwise,
life. I'm
like
just
Alexander
saying
the Great is probably one of the most horrible human beings ever.
right.
He's
Yeah.
just like some young upstart asshole,
Right.
who's like, oh, I'm gonna make a name for myself and just murder lots of people. And now we call him Alexander the Great. And the only reason why we don't look at him as being as bad as Hitler is because he existed like, over 1,000 years ago. And so somehow we just judge him by a different standard. So like memory, just being remembered is
I think
something.
being
But a lot of
remembered
people
for
think
doing
that
something
though.
good.
A lot of
For
people
doing
think
something
that because they're afraid of death. Like, so fear of death is like something that is just across all of time people have had, right? And so how people respond to fear of death is really important in terms of getting at what they believe to be the meaning of life, right? And some people respond to fear of death by trying to find some means of finding immortality. And one way to do that is to do something like a sad but true way of being remembered is to do something horrifically horrible.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the same. Horrific and horrible is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a double negative. In this case, it doesn't make it positive. It makes it really, really bad.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not it.
Yeah.
Not it.
No, I mean, I was thinking of like people who did something that was like impacted people in like a good way, and because like if you didn't really do much and you didn't really, I guess you just kind of lived your life and you didn't really impact that many people, then I mean, like,
Well, you have to be remembered and do a lot of things that people go, oh yes, Isla did this or Teeny did that, and then I don't know. I don't necessarily think that being remembered
Teeny's gonna live forever.
I'm thinking like the meaning of life is to.
I was more trying to get at like
to do something
relationships
to
with other people,
to make the world a better place for your children, for the future generations to come.
I mean, eventually we're going to circle back to the same things we've been talking about, like service to others, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think that's true, but I don't think that I don't want to get there just by saying, well, you want to like do good stuff. That's the meaning of life. Like I want to get there from like a very logical,
right.
And at the same time, I want to like really try to definitively state what is not the meaning of life, which I think is easier. I think it's easier to find problems and other arguments for the meaning of life, like this whole idea of being remembered. Okay, so this is another reason why being remembered is such a stupid answer for meaning of life.
Right.
Eventually, the sun's going to burn out, and everything about humanity, unless we build a rocket ship and get away to other solar systems, is going to be gone.
Right, yeah.
All right, so like Alexander the Great, like, here's another reason. Even if that doesn't happen, or if we do, get the spaceship out, Elon Musk, come on, Tesla, SpaceX, right? What we actually imagine Alexander the Great to be, or Genghis Khan, or even Mother Teresa, or like all these famous people, like our mental understanding of who that person is not necessarily who they were. It's not who they were. In fact, every brain cell that you have today did not exist 7 years ago. You're a totally different person. So this idea that you are one thing and that your one entity needs to be remembered in the future, this doesn't really make any sense. Like, individual people don't really exist in a vacuum. Like, the idea of I and ego is kind of like this very loosey-goosey term. Like, so if every cell in your brain today didn't exist 7 years ago, then are you the same person 7 years ago? I mean, obviously not, right? Does anybody actually have any clue what Alexander the Great was like? No, other than he was probably an asshole, right? So what does that even mean, that he's famous? And then we go, oh, we say Alexander the Great. Is that even how they pronounce his name? They forgot his last name. Right? Do we really remember him? They're like, Alexander the, what was his name? Well, we'll just say he was great, though, you know, like. So anyway, what is the meaning of life? 42. Oh, that's from a movie. No. Or a book. That was from the what's that book?
That's what the book was
Guide
called?
to the Galaxy something? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Somebody asked this question, what is the answer to everything? And they had this computer basically run this algorithm for like 1 million years to try to figure it out. And 1 million years later, all of humanity was waiting for the answer from the supercomputer, and the computer said, 42. And all the people were like, what? All right.
Guess then you don't have to study for tests anymore.
We're still trying to answer the question for the meaning of life. It's probably going to take all day. So if you have to run to work, feel free to watch the replay later. And we should keep trying to answer this question, though. I want to come up with a good answer, because now I don't even know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day until I answer this.
To make sure life continues on the planet.
It would be good to make sure that life doesn't end.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, well, I've been talking a lot. Isla, what's the meaning of life?
To be able to have effect on the world.
That's what Alexander the Great thought. He had an effect on the world.
Makes the world a better place for the future generations. And that can be, it's multi-dimensional. Like, it goes back to what Sume says too, right? I mean, when you develop meaningful relationships, so you make a lot of people's life better, and then they will make the world a better place for future generations too.
I think to try to spread as much good to the people around you is one thing.
Yeah,
that could be part of it, but it's like such a huge question.
I have an answer. Okay, I have an answer, I think.
Yeah.
I think that the meaning of life is that we have to consciously think about how we want to live, and that it comes down to an individual choice about what we want to value. And that the only way we can really fail to live life well is if we never ask the question and come up with our own answer to the best of our own ability, and we simply follow out the programming handed down to us by our parents or our community or our country or by our culture, and we just live the script like some computer algorithm. I think that that's a big part of it. I think that one needs to come up with that meaning and constantly refine it and try to make it better as we go on. That's the life experience. That's part of what gives it meaning, is that we make it a conscious effort to figure out how we want to live and what we want life to be for us. But in that process, though, I think that it's part of that process will reveal that a lot of what people think is important turns out to not be. And I think, and importantly, I think that the answers can be found, but they're not going to be found just by reading a book. they're found by being aware of the human condition and what we feel and experience, right? So, for example, when something really sad happens, like somebody suffers the loss of a loved one, or some tragedy, that the feelings associated with that provide a lot of clarity as to what's important, right? All of a sudden, all the stupid things like, you know, all those keeping up with the Joneses, like who's got the nicer car, that nobody cares about that, like the day that their father dies or something, right? When something really wonderful or horrible happens, you're not worried about like who's getting the the promotion at the office. You don't care about that. That doesn't matter anymore. Like, so being aware in those moments, I think, provides the best insight into what is meaningful and important about life. And yes, it ends up being about relationships. It ends up being about following one's passions. To take the unique gifts that only you can really leverage and then use them to make the world a better place. Like, yes, that is true, but it's not true because somebody said it on some periscope. It's true because you can feel that truth just by being aware as you take that journey through life. If your eyes are open, the truth is self-evident, I think.
But just to follow up, besides relationships, there are a lot of kind of meaningful goals to have in life, right? We have, throughout history, we have all these inventors that created new technologies to make the world a better place. I mean, by technology, I mean any ways that doing things better and faster.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's just following a point, it's self-evident. Like, we want to take care of our environment to the best of our abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's like the meaning of life is to take care of our environment.
Well, it could be though. So if you're the kind of like the special knowledge that you were talking about, right?
I mean, like,
or this inventor, like Elon Musk, I'm pretty sure that the meaning for his life was to build the first rocket ships that could take off and land and help transition the world to renewable energy. Like that was part of why he exists. But he was able to figure that out for himself based on his unique gifts and his unique passions. And like, I think he's one of the kinds of people that he's not sitting around waiting for permission from other people. He's not living out the scripts handed to him by.
I also don't necessarily think it's like when you're when you're born, it's not like, oh, okay, well, this person has this special knowledge, and if they go down this path,
right, it's not preordained. No.
Yeah, but it's just developed through your life, and depending on like all your circumstances and history.
Definitely.
You kind of want to have some idea what are the things out there you can do at such a moment to make the world a better place.
But
right?
that's always different for different people.
Yes, it is different. That's why you have a kind of a portfolio of ideas, and then you can choose which one is for you.
Yeah, and nobody can tell you what the answer is for that except you.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like when people go around like telling other people what the answers are.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see it yourself, and it's just that's what I mean by like to some degree the meaning of life is something that one has to decide on as an individual, based on awareness of who they are and their life experience. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be slightly different for everybody.
And what they want.
And what they want.
They want.
I mean, there's going to be some similarities. Like at some point, it comes down to using one's unique gifts to make the world a better place, right? But what those unique gifts are going to be unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how you're going to do it is going to be unique.
Yeah.
it always helps me to know, okay, what are the things I can do, like little things I can do to help the world a better place. So when I
little things because you're smaller than me.
Well, little things matter, right? You will have the big goals, but then you also have little things on your list that you can do, say to make other people's life easy or to make the world a better place. And when I have a moment, I do these things, because life is not just the big things. It's also the little things.
I also think that like the seemingly microscopic things that you do might not actually have such a little impact, because like you see that someone.
Isla's not liking what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
No, I was, cause like, let's say you pick up some trash, pick up some like cans from the street, and then put it in the recycling on your way to work. Someone else sees that, and they're kind of like, oh, maybe I should do something too, even though you just picked up some cans and then put it in.
And then they do it, and then somebody sees them,
and then
they do it.
And then it has like a ripple effect, because we're all like. We still live in a world where there are other people, and people still can notice the things that we do, and so one little thing might have a ripple effect and might cause 20 other people to do something good for the world too, which might cause some other people and some other people, and it's not, and it's, so I think that also trying one kind of thing that you can try to do when is to also not only just do like big changes in your life, like, oh, I'm gonna follow my passion and stuff, but also to just be mindful that there are other people who can notice the little things as well, because while there are also big picture things, even like the smallest detail can kind of shift the big picture.
Yeah, a small kind act goes a long way.
So I mean, like there was this video at school that they showed us where it's like there was one dude who like a woman dropped her groceries, and then he like helped her carry it across the street, and then someone else saw that, and then they did something. They like bought an extra hot dog for some homeless guy.
Was it a hot dog or a cold dog?
I think it was a hot dog.
Oh, that's good. And then hot dogs are better.
And then the homeless guy helped like a delivery man like carry all the boxes to someone's doorstep. And so it was just really cool how it was showing how like just one guy helping a lady carry her groceries, because she dropped them, could just affect so many people afterwards. So.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
This is why I think one can derive a lot of meaning for their life without just like reading a book or just accepting something on faith, is that when you do something positive for somebody else, you feel how good that is. Like your own emotions guide you to seeing that service to others and cultivating unique gifts, to contributing to both yourself and the world around you.
And you also need to do something good to yourself.
Yes. Right? Like drinking coffee.
Drinking lots of water.
No, but it's like, because
well, let me finish my point is that like there are a lot of people in the world that think that you have to accept certain rules about the meaning of life on faith without evidence in order for them to get up in the morning and want to do good things. And I never understood that, because I received so many positive emotions from doing good things for the world, like building this app to help kids learn during the lockdown and love learning and start to write with each other and share with each other what their passions are and not charging for it. Like, I'm excited about that. I like doing that. I'm not doing it because I think that there's like some, dude sitting up there judging me and then deciding, well, you are doing good, therefore you get good things. No, it just feels good. Yeah. So like I I just listen to that. Just listening to one's own consciousness, I think, can guide one to finding a lot of meaning. But that's my own personal view. I'm not speaking for anybody else.
Yeah, I think that, like, because when you do something good, then it's kind of, for the person that you did something good to, they're like, oh, you, like, someone just bothered to do something good. They don't know me. They don't really, they don't have any connections with me before, but they just decided, oh, I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna do something good. And then that's kind of like something that can actually be really powerful for someone, because even like, because I think like for everybody, they kind of have those moments where they're like, or they're kind of like doubting themselves, and when you see that someone just stopped to help you, and they didn't really, they weren't judging you, they were just trying to help, then I think it kind of breaks you out of just, oh my gosh, what do other people think of me, because then you're just kind of like, oh, I can just do some like small good things for the world.
Just the act of doing it too can actually cultivate that even more.
Yeah.
Right? If you're constantly working all the time and ignoring your children, like a certain father may have done at a certain point, then you're going to start to think that work is like the only thing that matters in life. Because that's what your brain, your actions are actually causing your brain to think that. So you can actually, that's what I mean by you can have some choice in deciding what you want life to mean to you by putting your time and energy into things that you want to cultivate, because it's who you want to be. It's because it's what you want life to be. And then all of a sudden your brain starts to rewire itself and go, okay, you must really love hanging out with your kids and doing things with them, and showing that, like, expanding their awareness of all the things in the world and cool people and new technologies and stuff. And then I can cultivate that. But it's almost like a choice. Well, it is a choice. I think people are afraid to have that choice, though. That's one thing. It's terrifying. If you tell somebody that they have the choice to decide what makes life meaningful to them, then the fact that it's on their shoulders is terrifying to a lot of people. And that's why they are so desperate to look for answers outside themselves, because they can't. It's like, no way, because
if their life isn't like going well, then then it kind of has to be.
Well, we all know how flawed we are.
Right,
Every single human being on this planet knows deep down inside that we got problems. Everybody. And so if it comes down to you, it's scary, because you're like, but I'm so screwed up in my own special way, because we all are. So it is scary.
Well, every single moment we have a choice to decide how we act, like whether we want to be positive, giving somebody a big smile, say something kind, or whether we want to complain,
where'd Isla go?
Be outraged and criticize.
Do we want to? Right, we can we
whether,
choose that.
Whether we want to spend 10 minutes to teach our child something really important, or we can be stuck in our own world
for 10 minutes,
stuck in our
yelling
world.
at the TV. Emmett Smith, Emmett Smith. Sorry.
So it's
who's that?
My dad. That was a memory I have of my dad yelling at the TV when the Dallas Cowboys were playing.
Oh, one of the players was Emmett Smith.
Yeah, that's right.
Shall we wrap up?
I say we keep talking about the meaning of life for the next hour. And just not go to work.
Yeah, we need to go to work.
All right. Well, so let's wrap this up. So, point is, there's a few things we covered. One, hot dogs are best served hot.
Not cold dogs.
Also, best business ideas are ones that you're learning a lot while you're doing it. So even if you fail, you get the knowledge. Doesn't cost a lot of money to pursue. You're solving a real problem, preferably one that you know.
Aliens are probably weird.
You either have a moat or are prepared to like run faster than your competitor.
What about aliens?
Also, aliens probably do exist but they're probably too far away to get to us because of physical barriers with how fast things can move, namely the speed of light. And then the last one on the meaning of life. The meaning of life, this is going to be tough to summarize. Meaning of life to some degree comes down to individual choice about what we value. Mm-hmm. Because it's not written in the stars. Mm-hmm. One can believe that the meaning of all of life is written in the stars somehow. But I don't think it's necessary, because a lot of the truth about what's important in life is self-evident from conscious experience. And so, especially when really bad things happen, or we face death, like in Isla's article about regrets of the dying. The regrets of the dying are really good. If you want to check this out, it's on wequil.com, wequil.com. Isla wrote an article called The Regrets of the Dying, with Sume's help. And this, I think, actually is the best answer to this question. Mm-hmm. And she talks about this survey of people, what they were saying when they were told they had a terminal illness, or they were just very, very old and only had like a few months to live. And it basically came down to, well, you know what? I'm gonna let folks go ahead and find that and read that. The answer to the meaning of life is in the article that Isla wrote on her blog called Regrets of the Dying.
In wequin.com.
Psychology.
That one too. You mentioned it there too. But we also put it in Regrets of the Dying. Yeah.
We made another article.
Yeah. We made another one, yeah. All right. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of
Frowen Girls
with special guest Teeny.
Yay!
And we're going to go now.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Crack it.